Hold tight.
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libas.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
Just what the flipping Nora are you lot doing?
I'm still in there. I'm still right behind him.
It was just a very well thought out tactical plan by Danny.
I want goals!
I can literally feel the steam coming out your ears.
So it's like a fun little post-game snack.
The Wednesday Week!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. Tonight, it's that time of the year where we talk about... We find out who the winner is, and I've completely played the wrong graphic, so we're going to talk about this.
It's the Wednesday Week Awards. Let's break into song. Who's been good? Who gets the gold?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the end of season awards. That's why we've had a bit of a change up. That's why we look a bit different, and that's why I'm wearing my snazzy graphic. Tonight, joining me, I've got Simon, I've got Stevie, and I've got Ash, whose stress levels are at 3,000% because he decided to leave his own work to the last minute because he had stupid work on stupid Monday, because it surprised everybody, didn't it, Ash?
Yes, mate, yeah.
Simon, how are you? How was your weekend? All right?
Yeah, it was good, thank you. Quiet, no football, wonderful. Got drunk Friday night, recovered Saturday.
Oh,
That's about it, really. Not exciting.
Sounds like the dream. Stevie, you've been down to the Big Smoke. You've been down to that there London to support your daughter, who's now toothless right now. Tell me about that.
What, the teeth or the basketball or the?
Tell me it all. The fact that the two are not related is actually quite fun for me.
Yeah. Weekend's been full on. Friday decided to go up to North Yorkshire, settle. Did 3 peaks in 8 hours 52 minutes. 56
is that good?
On Saturday. Apparently so. I can honestly say Yorkshire 3 peaks is the most horrendous thing I've ever done in my life. Absolutely relentless. My toes hurt, my back hurts, my knees hurt. Everything hurts. I'm in pain.
It's almost as if you're a middle-aged man approaching 50 and you shouldn't be doing such things.
Mate, I had the absolute arrogance of just going, do you know what? I've done a couple of half marathons in my time. I've played football at a decent level. I go to the gym a fair bit. Putting a pair of walking boots on and getting around the countryside won't be too bad. How foolish was I? I spent literally 8.5 hours walking up inclines like that, climbing, absolutely in bits. But then went down to the O2, managed to see the little one play basketball, a part of the SBL, SLB even, playoff finals yesterday. She was on court between the Hatters game and the men's game in front of about 5,000 people, which was a vibe. So, yeah,
not
pretty decent weekend all round.
And then one kid, just before we've just gone on air, has kicked the other one's tooth out.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to come upstairs and heard a scream from downstairs, and Olivia has kicked Molly's front teeth in. Lovely stuff. 2 days before she goes on holiday.
Mintola, big fan. Now, normally this is where I'd be asking Ash how he got on with his weekend, but I know he's grafting away in the background, so I'll just fill you in. We went to Great Yarmouth, Ash and I, and a couple of old school pals, and great is a massive oversell. I don't know. I tell you, I don't know what's happened to the British seaside. It's been a while since I've worked in Skegness, and I feel that when I worked in Skegness at the turn of the millennium, that's when it stopped. That's when nothing moved forward in that entire realm. It was absolutely grim. Is that what British seasides are now? Because like the interesting thing is like you've got those rides, like, you know, the ones that kids sit on and they just indifferently bob and they all want £1 just to go on this bobbing thing. And they're all like Bob the Builder. And you're like, that's a 25, 26-year-old reference. Who wants, why would a child who's 5 years old want to go on the Bob the Builder machine? And I found it incredible. I didn't know that that's what's happened to the British seaside. If I'm wrong, let me know. But Yarmouth, not great. Not great. And it looks like someone spent some money on it, Ash.
It was abysmal. were there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not. I mean, come on. You've got 4 middle-aged blokes going out for a weekend. I mean, there's thousands of places you could have gone, and we decided to go to Yarmouth for some unknown reason.
I was about to say,
absolute. Sorry, go on, Si.
Well, why Yarmouth?
Why not?
God.
I don't know. One of the lads just suggested it, so we went anyway. So it took us 5 hours to get there on a Friday afternoon and all that good stuff. So it's a dive for drinking establishments. Good for if you like fish and chips, crap food and amusements, and good weather actually, wasn't it? We all got burnt, which was nice.
Yeah, we've all got sunstroke from drinking dark fruits, watching Crystal Palace lift the trophy. But listen, it's been 6 minutes. Let me try and catch you up, boys and girls, on why we look a bit different this evening. So tonight we're going to be talking about the end of season awards. This week we've put out a survey for you chaps, you folks, you listeners, you guys, to tell us how you thought the season went. And I feel like some of you have been a little facetious in some of your answers, and we'll be discussing that as time goes on. So, Ash, how do you want to do it? Do you want to go through the nominations first, or do you want me to go around the panel, or do you want me to ask the people out there?
Well, a bit of participation from the viewers would be good. You could just put the nominations up, and then or I could do it, and then
go for it.
We can discuss it, shall we? Shall we go with
so
our
the first one? Yeah, the first one, Ash. Introduce it. Give it the big beans.
Right. So obviously, it's going to be the viewers, followers, watchers, whatever you are, listeners. Home game of the season, their favourite home game. So here we go. They are. There's your.
Right.
They nearly showed the winner there, weren't it? Apologies.
So the favourite home game there, Ash, remind me, were Middlesbrough, Derby and Plymouth. Those were the favourite home games. You're going to have to someone remind me of Middlesbrough at home, because Christ.
Bank holiday Monday. We hadn't won since New Year's Day. Yeah.
Oh, was that one?
It was that one,
right.
Yeah. And we got a 2-1 win. Plymouth was the opening 4-0 win. Top of the league. We're going to win it all. Mm-hmm. And then Derby County was New Year's Day.
Was that 4-2, that one with a shit pinger from Barry?
It was the one from the
Oh, was it? Okay. All right. Simon, out of those three, have you got any favourites, if you remember back that far? Because one of them was literally the first game of the season.
I wasn't even at home for the Plymouth game. I was away on holiday.
You missed the best game of the season. You missed the best game of the season.
You don't get away much, Si. You don't mention going on holiday very often.
Me and holiday. I'm not going on holiday now for the rest of the year. Anyway, and I'm not. Derby for me. Derby, I thought, was the game for me. I really enjoyed that game. It was a game I nearly didn't go to because I had the COVID, and we saw goal of the season, even though he didn't win it.
So, I honestly, it's been such a trash time at home this season, Stevie. Where, did we peak on the first day of the season?
Retrospectively, some people would argue that our home form did peak on the first day of the season, and it seems a million miles away from where we are now, doesn't it? With Danny looking all fresh, and the Wayne Rooney's Plymouth rolling into town, Sky cameras, job lot, and we were genuinely, we got to the top of the league day one. It was all downhill from there. However, at that point, it just felt like the culmination of a pre-season, and I think we mentioned it at the start of the year. We've gone through some difficult times over the last sort of 4 or 5 years in terms of pre-season, with uncertainty off the field, and it felt like going into this season there was an air of stability that was coming. Certainly with Danny signing his contract, the players that we brought in, the squad overhaul to an extent that we'd had, and it all just felt like it was coming together. And then we had that afternoon in the sun. Jamal Lowe looked a player. Svanti looked a player. Windass scored a decent goal. I think Smudge came off the bench to score, didn't he, as well? It all looked decent. It all looked like we were all going to be in and around it for the duration. Peaked early, didn't we?
We really did. Ash, I'm going to go through some comments here because I know you've got a lot of AV to pick up there. So I'm just going to pick up some comments here. Chef Cam's gone with, has it still got a rickety old wooden roller coaster? Hillsborough, I don't think it does, no. But Yarmouth still does, yes. Matt Strickland's off to Yarmouth in August. Don't forget to send my regards to Shaz that works in the Crown, probably. Couldn't remember the name of it. Chaz has gone with, Dan, don't forget to dress up. Shame. Yeah, I missed it. Izzy Nicholson said the Norfolk and Suffolk coast are the worst of the seaside towns. Can concur, can confirm. But she's also doubled down with, it's not an easy choice. I nominate one, but she missed a play. Hang on, I'll start again because I've forgotten how to read. It was not an easy choice to even nominate one, especially as I missed the Plymouth game as I was on holiday. Hey, Simon, were you on holiday with Izzy Nick from a Wednesday week watchers? Craig Hayward has gone with. To be fair, after Plymouth, it pretty much went downhill at home anyway. It was difficult, wasn't it? And then John's been on, and he said we literally thought we'd walk in the league after the Plymouth game. Yes, we did. And John Duncan has doubled down and said we peaked versus Plymouth big time. Ashley, do you want to do your bits?
Yeah, should we do it? Should we get on with it? I am in the room, everyone. I do apologise. A heavy weekend and being awful at.
In fact, speaking of peaking early, Ash is now a living embodiment of Sheffield Wednesday's home form.
Yeah. Right, so here we are. Here we go. So, favourite home game: Plymouth, Middlesbrough, Derby County, and the winner is, no surprise, Plymouth Argyle. Look at that. Hey,
Plymouth
4-0, winning the lot, weren't we? I think it was.
Yeah, we were winning the world after Plymouth Argyle. So Plymouth Argyle, the literal first game of the season. That was it. That was it for our home form. And two of you watching tonight and joining us this evening were on holiday. So my mum was very upset about that because they ran out of pop at the shops as well and gave her a beaker of water, which I really enjoyed. Ash, what's next?
Right. Well, we've done the home game. We may as well move on to the away game. Now, this was a bit more, what's the word? Hotly debated, shall we say, in the things. So, are you ready? So we've got Middlesbrough, Norwich, Derby County. Oh, nearly then.
You've got to be on the button there, Ash. Sorry, this is away day. Middlesbrough, Derby.
Day.
And Norwich, was that?
Norwich.
Yeah. So for them that can remember, Middlesbrough was Boxing Day. It was a 3-3 draw, which is hard one to say a draw. Norwich was the 4-2, was it? No, 3-2. 2-0 down.
We were 2-0 down.
Yeah, we were 2-0 down, yes, sir. And Derby County was the late show, wasn't it? 2-1.
Yeah.
On the something like the 30th of November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, have you got a favourite between them, Simon?
No, I haven't.
Cool.
Sorry. I think what it showed was how Wednesday had played all season, where we've either come out of the traps really quick in the first half, and in the second half we've not done so good. And in all three of those games, we came out in the first half. I didn't go to Norwich, I didn't go to Borough, but I went to Derby. We were awful. Absolutely awful. And then Danny changed it up and we came back winners. And I think that was the embodiment of all those three games, was just playing abject. And then Danny made some changes and we turned it on and we got the draw, 2 wins. Picked the wrong team at the start, maybe, but obviously he's not afraid to change it up, and he wasn't afraid to change it up in those games and many others.
To be fair, Simon, we spoke a lot this season, haven't we? And we did, especially towards the back end of the season, on the episode I did with yourself, talking about how we've not actually had 2 good halves of football this entire season.
Yeah, and that sums it up. Those 3 games basically show that, don't they?
Yeah.
All three of those games in the first half, we were absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, we were. I just need to clear something up, ladies and gents. This week, I spoke to Mark the Pits Morale. If you haven't caught it, make sure you get it. And he's been on. And I don't know what he means by this, because this insinuates something. He's gone, love the glasses, Dan, better than the underpants. I don't know when you've seen me in my snazzy gold sequin underpants, Mark, but there's going to be rumours all over the internet.
Daniel, what happens off air stays off air.
Listen, I was young. I needed the money. What about you, Stevie?
Sorry, can we just stop it? Because every week I'm on the show, there's one thing that I lose it at. It's happened for about a month straight now, and I do apologise. I just need more fun in my life, I think.
Dance pants.
If me and Mark's knowledge of my sequin gold pants is apparently talk of the interwebs. Stevie, have you got anything to add? Like any other games to add in? Any other favourite away games? I was a big fan of Watford. I know Holly would come on here and say Preston, but even though that was a dour shite game, I think she got boshed up in a pot world. Pompey, I really enjoyed. That was a great away day with the shit pinger from Smudge. But I suppose, that Middlesbrough one, I missed 2 of the 3 goals that we scored. I think you only missed one of them, didn't you?
I left you 2 on Boxing Day. I had Molly with me, didn't I? I think I left you 2 and then went running back up because we did the Ingleson had scored. Yeah. And then we scored again. Middlesbrough was all right, to be fair. The second half performance was pretty strong, coming from 3-0
Good setup at Middlesbrough as well, like the fan zone and the mixing of the fans and stuff like that.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for the experience that you have when you go to away days, just to offer a little bit of, rather than just spend the night going, oh, that were a good result, that were good. Thinking about it sort of objectively, when the Middlesbrough set was decent. Sunderland, before we kicked off, I thought was decent in terms of what they have in and around the ground. I enjoyed Coventry for the sort of the atmosphere outside the place, Plymouth as well, and Portsmouth. My personal favourite, for personal podcast reasons, I look forward to the annual QPR away because I get to spend QPR away for me. I get to spend the day with you lot. We get drunk, we have a laugh, we get to visit a really old school, quaint ground, and the fact that we performed how we performed and we scored the goals that we'd scored in front of our fans later on when we'd not been in sort of the best form necessarily, and we were still on the precipice, if you like, of pushing and having that conversation about being in the playoffs. Of the nominated ones, I'd probably say Derby. The atmosphere in the Derby, for the Derby game, I thought was the one for me. But personally, I really enjoy an away day at QPR.
I'll let you think of yours, Ash, while I bash through some comments. Craig Haywood has said the comeback against Borough was epic, but we should have won it in the end. I wish we'd closed out Middlesbrough 4-3, but he's got to give it to Norwich. That's from Dunderbird. John says that Norwich win was fantastic, just before a derby as well. I felt like that was the shot in the arm we needed. Matt Strickland says, "Is it Norwich?" with a question mark. Dunderbird says, "Sums up our team spirit. Those games never beaten." And you know what? There are a number of games there, aren't there, where we've gone, "Nah, sod this. We're digging deep." There's a lot we've come back from behind on. And then Mohammed's gone with Norwich was a typical away game this season. It really was, to be fair. And Izzy's gone, travelling back to my uncle's on a train full of Norwich fans was great. Loads of people said, well, you must be Wednesday fans because you don't look miserable. So, that says a lot about Norwich fans, to be fair. Oh, right. I've got to shed a little light before I come to you, Ash. He's right. We spoke about my lucky pants that I used to wear back in the 90s. There he goes. Yes, he's right. Mark the Pitsmore has been on and says, your lucky pants, what you told me about what you wear for games in the 90s. Again, that didn't happen off air. So if you want to look back on the context of this, make sure you get on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to press like and subscribe. Ashley.
Daniel, right, I'm back in the room. Apologies for that.
Are you all right? Are we back in? Are we back in?
Yeah, for me, probably Middlesbrough. Coming back from 3-0 down after we've had pretty much crap in the Christmas season, weren't it? The results were pretty poor. I think, showed a lot of character. For me, I think 3-0 for me for the Middlesbrough game, my favourite one. But we'll see.
Fair enough. All right then. So Ashley, put us out of our misery. Put us out of our misery after this.
Brace yourself. Some people are gonna try and sell you some things.
Amazing.
Welcome back. Ash is going to tell you who the favourite away day is as voted for by the Wednesday week listeners.
Ooh. So the choices were Middlesbrough, Norwich and Derby County, and the winner was Norwich City, the 3-2 comeback from 2-0 down away. So
That one surprised me. That one did, I must admit. Let's move on to the next one, Ash. Ladies and gents, it's the best goal of the season award.
Well, is there any need for me to even press these? Shall we just...
Do you want to just smash it on?
Yeah.
I've got Smudge Pompey.
Windass Derby and Shea Charles against Coventry. Apologies, I made this crap. Shea Charles.
Which one was Shea Charles against Coventry? Remind me of that one. Because
it was away Coventry.
The injury time.
Last minute winner.
Oh, yeah.
Slotted it past Duente. Masaba picked it up from a bit of a mistake, I think it was, and he slipped it through to Charles. Yep.
Okay. So, do you want to go around the room on this one? So we've got Shea at Coventry, where he celebrated with his brother. We've got the Michael Smith shit pinger away at Pompey, and then we've got this one that you'd never hear out about. I don't know what that was, but I know that Josh Windass referenced it today on his Instagram. What can I remember what he said?
Yeah, he said something about the goal. Do you know where you came in the goal thing? He says, I don't know, I don't care. I think Stevie Wonder was judging it.
Well, I tell you what, let's just
not me.
let's just move on because Dunderbird's just summed it up for beauty here. What's the point of this award? Ash, just go for it. Yeah. Just tell us who the winner is. Just let's do it.
I think that's a wide-ranging question. What's the point in this show? But we're here, aren't we?
Yeah, fair.
So I might as well answer. I might as well just crack on with it because. So the choices were Smith, Pompey, Windass, Derby, and Shea Charles, and the winner was, case surprise, it's Windass against Derby County on New Year's Day.
On New Year's Day, Liam Henderson says that Stevie Wonder was in goal apparently on that one. So go on, Simon.
I thought you were going to put up the Notts County goal then as the winner. I really did. The one that actually won it, that was probably the worst goal out of all of
the three.
Yeah. Absolutely shocked. I don't know what we need to do. This is like, honestly, this is now going to be a thing like the penalties. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to get any awards from the EFL awards at the end of the season, just like we never got a penalty for over a year. But there is a bit of love from Emily about Smith's goal. There was Chef Cam offering up Gassami versus Derby, flick, run, slot, calm as you like. Absolute banger of a goal. Underrated goal.
Sorry, Dan. I think that was only nominated once out of all the votes. Yeah,
it was probably Emily. It was probably her. Or Stevie.
Did Bannon's goal at Derby get any love? I've not had a look.
Nope.
Really? Didn't I nominate that one? I thought I put that one in.
I think it was obviously Windass's was the one, weren't it? So I think that would have been 95%, something like that. Okay. I should have got percentages as well. Sorry, apologies.
Okay,
sack me.
Right, let's move on here. So then, right, we've done best goal. Let's go to most improved player. Now, normally, ladies and gentlemen, this is the award that you give to the kid at school who's just turned up for training all season, and we give him most improved player. Or what's the other one? Is it Clubman Award?
Managers award, is it?
Yeah, something like that. But genuinely, this is one that I feel has got some legs. Like there are a number of players that have played for Sheffield Wednesday this season that I didn't think were that good last season, have played really well this season. Do you want to chuck the nominations up, Ash?
I will. So they are Inekwe, Maxlow, and Jedika Sama.
Okay, so Gassama, Ihekwe, and who was the other one? Lowe.
Yes.
Max Lowe. Now, Lowe's a difficult one in this because I wouldn't go as far as calling him an improved player because he's come from the Premier League to play for us, and he's had a good season. Ihekwe, Simon, I as I said last week, I feel like it's harsh on the lad not getting offered a new contract because I thought he was having an absolute banger of a season. However, somebody did make the point last week that his running the team was down to injuries to Famewo and Bernard and all the defensive issues that we've had. However, I felt he held his own.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm absolutely agree entirely with you, Dan. Out of the players that were released, he was the one I was disappointed had been released. And I would put him ahead of Iorfa in the team personally in regards to a solid centre-back. And he'd been, to me, he'd been a great addition to keep with the team, just in case we have injuries again, which no doubt we will. It's Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to the back end of the season and the players start dropping like flies, that I've noticed a lot more this time round. The other one in there is Gassama. Anybody you want to add? Are you going to mention LP2, Stevie, or are you having an LP2 free evening?
Yeah, I'm going to have an LP2 free evening. Gassama did really well, I think. And you could see that there were flashes of improvement, but he wasn't on that my own personal shortlist. He wasn't there for me because I think there was a lot of promise at times last year, and I think there are other players that are more deserving of it because they've improved significantly, having had longer careers. Ehekwe, for example, with due respect to Michael Ehekwe, is if you look at where he was at the start of the season, he was on the outs. He's a League One player. He's notorious for getting teams up into Championship and then floating in around the bottom end of the Championship. Max Lowe, I know you said that you wouldn't have put him in. I think Max Lowe, being that he was a left back who was quite maligned based on the fact he's come across town, and to this day, I reference it all the time when we talk about him. That goal against Leeds where Dan James has left him for dead when he was playing at left back, I thought, my God, we are in trouble here if this is what we've attracted, regardless of where he's come from. He made a believer out of me. I thought it was absolutely fantastic when he slotted into that left centre half position. I think Max Lowe did really well and improved over the season. Honourable mention, and forgive me, I think it was Chef Cameras putting the comments earlier on for Maywell. I think for Maywell has done well as well. But for me, I don't know who wins. I've not looked, but I think for me personally, it'd be a Ehekwe.
There's also I know in my shortlist, Ash, I had the Smudgemeister General. I feel like someone who got told that he wasn't going to be playing much football this season, and then I think he started not great and then didn't have a great finish. But the middle of the season, I think in something like 14 games, he had something like 11 goal involvements. Like that, he's had a decent season, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think the question you could have took twofold, like what you said at the start was Max Lowe's only just signed. It could have been improved from last year, or it could have been improved through the season, which I think that's probably why Max Lowe, like Stevie said, Max Lowe's got there because at the start it was, well, what we got it. I know the Blades said about his crap and all that, but he has turned into one of the better players. And then Gassama probably the other way, improved from last season. At the first half of this season, then just tailed off a little bit. But for me, it has to be an Ehekwe, doesn't it? Just purely a man on the outside, surplus to requirements. We've had the injuries that we've had, and he's come in, and yes, I know he made it what you could perceive the mistake for the United goal. But I think overall, 95% of it, he's been solid, and he's headed everything. Like an old school, what you like, Dan, isn't it?
Yeah, I love him.
Centre half. Yeah,
I love him.
For me, I think he's come in when he's needed and done a good job where probably other players haven't took that opportunity.
He's been everything that I thought Aidan Flint was going to be. Sidebar, boys and girls. There's been a lot of chat this week, obviously, because it's been the 2-year anniversary of the miracle of Hillsborough. And the more I watch back Liam Palmer's goal, the maturity that Aidan Flint showed in that moment, not to head goalward and to put it down for Liam Palmer, is severely underrated for me. We talk about Bannon's ball, we talk about Johnson's cross, but Flint for being 2 yards away from the post to not head it goalward, being the biggest player in the world and being a proper 8-dimple Lego brick to put it down for Palmer, I think is an underrated part of that goal. But that's because I love stupid, sexy Aidan Flint. Let's get into some comments before you reveal the answer. For Mayo until he broke from Chef Cam. We've got Dunderbird saying Icky's been too good for us before this, and Max Lowe just got here. Craig Haywood has said Max Lowe started the season really poor, couldn't defend to save his life. But as the season went on, he just got better and better, echoing a lot what you guys are saying. Emily's gone with Icky was passing about on the floor beautifully last few matches. Look at that. We've made an international defender out of Michael Ehekwe.
Did he do a Cruyff turn near near the halfway line as well in one of the last.
I also think he did it against the Blades at home, but let's set the better. And then Izzy Nicholson said, I wanted Mike Slow to go back to the dark side at the start of the season. So, lots to chew over there. But I feel like there's one outstanding player that we've made a point of not mentioning. Ash, give us the winner, please.
Oh, drum roll.
And the winner is Jedi Gassama.
What do we know?
A player, I know, right? We've all just sat there and gone, Ihekwe. But also, yes, Jedi Gassama. So there we are. So Jedward takes the plaudits of the most improved player. Another Chisco Munoz signing. That Danny seems to have got a tune out of. So when somebody now asks me about Chisco Munoz, can spot a player, can't get a tune out of him. That's how it works. Ashley, what's next?
We've got a bit of a different sort of award now. It's the Cult Player of the Season.
Sorry, what?
Yes, Cult. C-U-L-T.
He said cult.
Did your earphones...
Yeah, just cut out at the wrong time there, mate.
So the Patterson, Smith, and Gassama. They're your three players. Patterson, Gassama. I do apologise how quick these are coming up. I got the timing a bit wrong. So
I love it. So we've got Pato, Smith, and the Gas Man. Anybody you want to add to the fray there, Stevie? Anybody you want to talk about as a cult hero? Go on, here's your 2 minutes.
What are you trying to say?
Well, cult hero in the Spence household, I assume. It's just...
I think there is T's and C's this award. I think you have to have played like more than 90 minutes through the season or something. So, sorry, Stevie.
We're on a visual medium, so I'm not going to do any hand gestures, my friend.
All right.
What?
I think
while we're mentioning Liam Palmer, that's a bit off, mate. On this,
nobody mentioned Liam Palmer until you. Keep Liam's name out your mouth.
Cult hero.
I think if I was to add anybody to that, it's probably a nod to Charlie, maybe Michael Smith. There's something about Michael Smith's name being sung when he's just scored a pinger or an equaliser or a winner. Certainly through the midpoint of the season, down at QPR, away at Norwich. Michael Smith's magic was, we got a little bit there, didn't we? I can understand those people that have been nominated. I'd probably go Pato for similar reasons to the one that I've just mentioned, Smith. Again, a little bit like Ihekwe, he was surplus to requirements. If you believe what you look at the stats, you look at the squads, and you look at the playing lineups for the first half of the season. He's bided his time. I've got it on some sort of authority that he's not one that sulks. He don't moan, he don't whinge. He's just cracked on and waited for his opportunity. And when it came, he took it. And it's been much lauded over the last couple of weeks that he's played his way into recognition. Started the last 9-10 games and was pretty pivotal in what was the end of the season sort of.
I think he got 11 starts.
He was
11 starts on the bounce, mate. 11 starts on the bounce for the Packmeister General. Just referencing the last one there, Dunderbird is very upset that we've gone with Jedi Gassama for most improved player, because one player that we didn't bring up was Pierce Charles, and he said if this one ain't Pierce Charles, and then we've announced the winner, he's gone surely Pierce Charles, and I feel like Pierce does need a mention, doesn't he?
I think Dunderbird needs to just blame the tens of people that voted.
And we also had a mention there saying you could say it's a return of the Jedi.
Oh, JD, come on.
Tell you what.
No, JD, not JD. Can you not read?
It was from JD.
Yeah, we're such lads. Simon, anything to add on cult hero? Person that gets you going. I'm just trying to think what other cults we could have, because like you've got players like Lowe, Valerie, they just get on with it. There's no Jamal Lowe loving anywhere, is there? But I know that there's a lot of love for Shay Charles. There's the Barry Bannon cult. Definitely something that needs mentioning. But in terms of those three, Gassama, Smith, and Pato, there's only one winner, isn't there?
Obviously, the grey-haired, wonderful man from Scotland, who he'd sort of played bit part, hadn't he, in Carabao Cup, played at Grimsby, scored at Grimsby, took some right stick off the Grimsby fans. Just had a baby that week. I think his partner just had a baby. And then he opened up, didn't he? I think there was the QPR game that sort of opened the spell of 11 games, where he opened up about how he'd been struggling with his mental health and not playing.
Yeah,
and
after QPR,
and of all the players, he comes across as this tough macho man. You know, he goes fishing with his webcam under the stadium and all this, that, and the other. And it just shows you that everybody out there can suffer from mental health issues. And it just shows you think these tough footballers who earn thousands of pounds a week, all they want to do is play football. And he opened up and showed the human side of Pato, which I think endeared even more to that wonderful grey-haired man from Scotland.
who went grey at like 26. But we've had a few comments there. Chef Cam's gone with all hail King Pato. Paul Farouja's gone with made from girders McPato. Mad Ward's gone with Pato, king of shithousery. Liam Henderson has said the fishing Scotsman. Thunderbird said Pato stats for this season are genuinely really strong. Half the goals are Windass, less than quarter of the playing time. And then John Duncan says, if Pato started a cult, I'd join it. So there's been some good ones there. Ashley, do you want to add it and then put us out of our misery?
No, I don't. I think everything's been said. You don't want to hear me just go all dreary-eyed about Pato again, dear.
Stevie loves him.
Probably, probably. I don't know. Does he deserve his another contract that they've offered, or what? I don't know if he'll take it. If whatever, maybe. Is it just before we move on? Is it just Hatsuse might have made it if he'd been here all season, as I think the Japanese cult status could have challenged.
Good shout.
I mean, from the start, yeah, it was.
Or if he'd been better or if he'd been decent for more than 3 games.
Yeah, if it had been good.
If he'd got a chance,
yeah.
Didn't really have a chance with it.
Sorry,
just reading some of your. I'm reading some of your comments coming through here. What Chef Cam? I'd let Pato do root canal work on me.
Really? That'd be an interesting time, wouldn't it?
Yeah. He got hands like cowardice, really cold. I don't know. He was Morehouse will know.
He'd get his rod in there and pull him out.
Yeah, like that game with the fish snapping away. That little tiny rod. Ash, put me out of my misery. I'm talking shit.
So Patterson, Smith, or Gassama, I think, it was always going to be Callum Patterson.
Absolutely.
I think that was the biggest winning margin on any of the votes, even Windass's goal. I think Pato got the most percentage out of his.
Amazing.
I think it was. Now, this next one, I feel there's been some facetiousness on your behalf of filling out this survey. Ash, this one is the signing of the season. Jesus, wept on toast. I can't speak.
Well, I'll just put it on because so we have EK Ugbo, Shay Charles, and Max.
I've not seen that. I've not seen it.
So
I knew it was coming.
We have got EK Ugbo, who was a bargain £3 million signing in the summer. We have Shay Charles, as we know, we've heard a lot about Shay Charles, and Max Lowe from the other side of the. Well, actually, no, it's free, weren't it? So
yeah.
So they're the 3 nominations. So
they're the 3 nominations: Ugbo, Lowe, or Shay. Anybody you'd like to add into there, Stevie? Is Fanti Ingleson, perhaps? Jamal Lowe, Valerie's in there. Does Deschamps Bernard count? Would he even make it into your top 3? You know what I mean? Where would you sit on the intake of this season?
Bernard won't count because he signed a new contract. We had him last year, so I'll take him out. Beadle, no, I'm not having him. I think there's an argument, if you want to be hypercritical, there'd be an argument that Shay only being a loan, does he actually class as a signing? That's a conversation that we could pull apart. Ingleson, I thought on reflection over the season, certainly towards the end of the season, I thought Ingleson came on in leaps and bounds again. I know he set himself really high standards at the start of the season, and we talked about him bookending his year, but I thought he was quite impactful when he came on. Over the course of the season, coming on as an impact player. I think the panel with Shea, whether or not you want to go with the loan, Max Lowe, I'd have probably put Ingleson in there. Ugbo, I feel sorry for, and I know that we're having a bit of a laugh and a joke. Ugbo, I do feel a little bit sorry for. There's something gone wrong somewhere. Confidence is bereft. I think he's carrying the pressure. I think the penalty miss, I can't remember who it was against. I'm so sorry, down at Leppings Lane, when it was going to be Windass and he took it and skied it. I think that exacerbated the situation where that cliche of cow's arse and banjo, it just hasn't come for him. I still want to believe that we are going to have a player that we can try and get a tune out of. And if we get 10 goals out of him next year, does this season get forgotten in the grand scheme of things next year? Does he become next year's cult hero? We'll wait and see. I want things to come to get right for him. But
I kind of want things to get right for him purely because of the amount of money we've spent on him, because I think it's obscene. Simon, you're
on a personal level as well. On a personal level as well, I think it's important. We've just talked about, in all seriousness for a moment, we've just talked about Pato talking about his mental health, and it can't be good for a lad in his mid-20s who's had a lot of money paid for him. He will know that, he's getting a little bit of grief here and there from our fan base. Whatever happens, our fan base is class in terms of what we do. He came on back end of the season and people were continuing to chant his name, singing for him. We're willing it. There's always going to be that little bit of banter and a joke that we want to try and get him a goal and, first goal scorer, this, that, and the other. However, I want it to go right for him. Yes, because we paid the money, but on a personal level, I want it to go right for him just so he's okay.
Simon, you're a lot more cynical than Stevie is. Do you give a bollocks, or do you just want to just bin him out? He's been rubbish.
No, I don't want to bin him out because we saw the player that he could be this season.
And there is an element of that, right? Is it the football we're playing that's wrong?
I think Chef Cam's nailed it, to be honest, because he wasn't here for pre-season. Do you remember that excruciating press conference where, who's this knocking on the door? And,
I've forgotten all about that.
And he came in, he didn't do the pre-season in Germany, did he? And I think God knows what sort of pre-season we're going to have this season. Oh, God, doesn't bear thinking about.
He's going to take him to Great Yarmouth. They're going to go on that wooden rickety roller coaster and get sunburned.
Or up Yorkshire Three Peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Megson coming back then? That'd be a Megson thing, wouldn't it? Take him on there. Jesus. I think Chef Cam hit it on the nail on the head. There was no pre-season for him. He came in late. There was a lot of isn't he? I think the penalty miss, that can't have done him any favours whatsoever. He was probably the last player to give the ball to for the penalty. And it just went downhill from there.
I feel really bad because as you two are talking, I'm sat here thinking, Geezer's on 4 digits a week. Fuck him. Yeah, he's a professional footballer.
But that's what I was alluding to with Pato, wasn't it? That we all go, they're on 4 digits a week, driving around in nice big, swanning around big cars. But they are human beings, and Pato alluded to that, didn't he? And I imagine, as Steve said, this kid, he's only a young kid, and we don't know what's going on in the lad's head. I hope he has a good pre-season and comes out firing, because there is a player in there, isn't there? There's a player in there.
Obviously, I'm being quite facetious. We've had a few comments here. So Matt Strickland said Valerie instead of Ugbo in terms of nominations. Now, bear in mind, you guys have picked the nominations here. You filled in the forms. So Ash, I don't know if you've got access to the results, but while we're digging around there later on, can you try and find out how many people have voted for Ugbo as sign of the season? Because that's blown my mind. He's also doubled down with Max for free was a steal. Chef Cam said Max for me, seeing as he's ours. And then Gary Allsop was doubled down on the Ugbo debate, and I think this is the one that we've said all season, is that when we had Paveda beating men and laying them on for him, that's when Ugbo was a decent striker, and I can't disagree. I don't think we've played the proper football for EK Ugbo. We haven't hit that byline and cut it back to the 6-yard box. But go on, Ashley.
So I have them in front of me.
So here we go.
So We didn't get that many responses, to be fair.
Right.
But, people don't always want to fill stuff in. But EK Ugbo got 2 votes.
And he's the third nomination.
Yeah, he's the third.
So hang on then. So we've made a point of not mentioning one player. I assume everybody went for the winner then, right? I mean, that must be, if it's a bar chart, that must be very high.
Yes, there's Ugbo, then there's 2 others that were quite far ahead of, which is quite worrying that Jan Valery got the same amount of votes as Ben Hamer.
Wow. Wait, is that 0?
That's 1.
So someone voted for Ben Hamer. Christ almighty, we are on fire. You lot are absolutely on a wind-up, aren't you? Yeah. You're on a wind-up, you lot. Go on, Ash, put us out of our misery.
So we got Ugbo, Charles, and Max Lowe. And the winner is, of course, it's Shea Charles.
So Shea Charles being one of the best players we've seen at Hillsborough, post-millennium, like definitely top 5 post-relegation, I would say. I think he's been absolutely outstanding. Accused of dropping off towards the back end of the season after Daddy had his head turned by Southampton. But even so, he's still been, even if you believe that, he's still been a cut above everybody else on the pitch. Ashley, let's get into young player of the season, shall we? Let's get into young player.
Yeah, why not? So, young player, we have Pierce Charles, Shea Charles, and Jedi Gassama.
Oh, Dunderbird's going to go mad at us, isn't he? I've just realised what that means. So, let's talk about Pierce Charles, Simon. He's had a decent run in the team. We spoke earlier on in the season, about 6 months ago, about do we stick or do we twist? Do we cash him while his stock's high? Or do we keep hold of him to chuck in the sticks next season?
Keep hold of him. I think his stock will go higher. I think he's a really good keeper, and he's only going to get better. Made that slight mistake against Stoke, but in the grand scheme of things, I think he's been superb. How many games did he play towards the end of the season? 4, 5, 6 was it? 8
league games.
He nearly got Pato numbers running the team.
I thought it was superb. Really good lad. I mean, there was some talk about his height and a couple of goals he would have saved if he'd been a foot taller. But, there's quite a few goals that Beadle gave away that could have done if he'd actually performed better. So, to me, I thought he's one we keep for a season. He's a young lad and he's ours, and he'll be worth some cash, even more cash after another season playing for us.
I'd take the cash. I'd take the cash, but I know I'm in the minority of that one.
You love a goalkeeper, you though, don't you, Dan?
I do. Right. Listen to Dan Fudge. I think we've been really spoilt with goalkeepers at Sheffield Wednesday. Back to Pressman days, Kieran Westwood. You know what I mean? I think we've been really spoilt with goalkeepers, and at one point, there are people that we've had in the last 30 years that I think have been the best keeper in the league, and I don't think Pierce Charles at that level. And while people are talking about him, get the money, take the money, and then loan in, a youth keeper at Everton or Spurs or something. But I know Stevie is going to kiss his teeth at me for talking such insurrection. Stevie, Jedi Gassama, I feel like he would have the biggest shout for this award had he have carried that form on from throughout the season. I feel like towards the back end of the season, he got back into his, as the Yanks call it, the flopping that he was guilty of. Right, hang on.
Yeah.
Hold tight. I'm taking umbrage with this. Dunderbird has gone with agreed Fudge. Dawson was very underrated. Now, I think I made my feelings clear on Cameron Dawson a number of times. Stevie, pick up Jedi Gassama for me before I go on a 4-letter tirade.
Pick him up after he's chucked himself on the floor, you mean?
This guy.
I'm being distracted. Come at me, bro. Oh, you did.
Come at me, bro.
Gassama's been good. He's been good over the course of the season. I think that for him to be in this conversation is right and appropriate. We talked about it last week in terms of the Player of the Year votes that we had in the Supporters Man of the Match. These three are probably the right three for the young players, Burr, Shea, Jedi, Pierce. I have this asterisk against the Pierce Charles conversation because he's literally played a fifth of the season. If you take all the games that we played, 8 league games and what was it, 3-4 cup games. He's an outstanding goalkeeper, and he will go on to have a phenomenal career. And I hope he sticks around next year. And I hope that we have a manager, whoever that may be, whether it be the current incumbent or somebody else who comes in, that plays a style of football that can develop him further for him and can develop us as a team. Because if we go and get a Tony Pulis type who's just going to go, right, I want you to get the ball on the ground, we're not playing out from the back, we're going to ping it up to the halfway line, that's not what we need in terms of developing a Piers Charles. So we've got to be very careful in terms of what we're asking for from a coaching managerial point of view. We want somebody who's going to develop the players that we've got and improve the squad as well. I want that person to have Piers Charles in mind. Whether or not that comes to pass, we'll wait and see.
Fair enough. I think Emily agrees with you. She says, yep, I want at least a season out of Pierce playing to his strengths. We've also had Emily double down again with Pierce, which is what I shouted on a holiday to Amsterdam once. And then Izzy said he only looked short because Beadley's so tall. Pierce Charles played so well since coming into goal. He did all right. That one against Stoke, though. Neon Brown says, Dan's right. We've had some great goalies over the years. Now, normally I'd take a win on that one, but then he doubled down with Ola Tidman on the end of it. And then Dunderbird said I'd replaced Ola Tidman from memory. And Russell Howe said Chris Adamson. All shit.
I bet we could find between us two. Each one of us could find 2 really good goalkeepers from the early 90s onwards. I genuinely easy.
Yeah,
Westwood.
Yeah.
Lee Grant.
Chris Kirkland. Lee Grant was brilliant. I went to sign for Manchester United well into his 30s. I honestly, we've been really spoiled with goalkeepers.
Bywater was good.
Bywater was brilliant.
David Lucas.
And Izzy Nicholson has said we've only really had competition to break into the first team.
Nicky Weaver.
Yeah.
Nicky Weaver, outstanding. But yes, Ashley, do you want to... I've just got people just naming goalkeepers now. Ashley, do you want to put us out of our misery? Because I feel like, once again, this is a bit of a foregone conclusion, isn't it? If you are listening, Ash was doing a drum beat on his desk. It did come through on my headphones, but there was drumming happening. Happening.
What was Shea Charles?
Shea Charles was the winner, ladies and gents. Shea Charles was the young player of the season. Special mentions there to Pierce and Jedward. It's the last one of the evening, ladies and gents. Ash, tell us what it is.
It's the top award. It's the one they've all been playing for. It's the Wednesday week player of the season, voted for by you listeners, followers, watchers, and interactors.
Creepers, just people creeping on us, just watching us. There we are. Go on.
Is that the technical term for people who watch content creators like ourselves, Daniel?
Voyeurs. So, ladies and gents, the Player of the Season award we will go through after this.
Hold tight, kids, it's advert time.
So we're into the Player of the Season. Ashley, who are the nominees?
So the nominees are Max Lowe, Josh Windass, and Shea Charles.
Player of the Season. So Max Lowe got some love earlier on, as did Josh Windass, and Shea Charles has just won the last 2 awards. Anybody else do you feel would have a shout into this, Simon? Like, Pato's had a good season, Smith's had a good season. We finished 12th. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a Sophie's Choice Award, this one, isn't it? Unless we just go with the obvious one. To try and be contrary is quite difficult, isn't it?
It is, because one thing I was always slightly critical of the manager was the constant chopping and changing. So through injuries, sometimes you had to, but there hasn't been a player other than probably those 3, which is unusual for Josh Windass, to have actually played all the way through the season without any real injuries that have kept them out for ages. So Fenwo could have been in the running at the start because he was absolutely amazing, got injured. Obviously, Icky towards the end of the season, but he only came in January. Pato, but only sort of came in from sort of QPR game onwards. And Lowe was in and out of the side. Valerie got injured. I thought Valerie started off and turned into a really good player. But there's only one winner there, isn't there? We all know who it's going to be, and he's not even our chuffing player. It's just annoying.
I tell you what, Stevie, we've had some comments there, and I think these are really interesting actually. So I thought it was Baz, massive miss when he's not in the side compared to the rest. We spoke last week about when Baz is not in the team, how poor we are because we're so badly prepared for life without Baz, and how ingratiated he is in the way we play. And that's a fair comment from David there. And then Russell has also doubled down with Josh Windass. Why do people ignore his influence? Which is a great comment. I think that is an issue that we have when it comes to Josh Windass.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree, but certainly with the Bannon statement, I think we underestimate and underappreciate Barry Bannon because he's been where he is with us for as long as he has. We take him for granted a little bit. And I know that me and this guy sometimes disagree in terms of our opinions on Bannon. We both respect the hustle and respect where he is and what he's done for the club. Me personally, I still hold him in the highest regard. I think he'd be one of the first names on the team sheet for me. Windass. The problem with Josh Windass is he's too streaky. He's anonymous at times. His influence is under, it's under no question when he's on it and he's at it. And I think Holly referenced it last week. He's either a 10 or he's a 2. Mm-hmm. You don't get that consistent month-long streak of Josh Windass just being steady away. He's either very, very good or he disappears.
Isn't that the nature of the position, though? Isn't that what comes with playing the position it does? Because, I think she also made this a similar point when he was at fault indirectly for all 3 goals against Sunderland in the early part of the season. And I think she said something like, if he does that at the top end of the pitch, it's not really going to cause an issue. But because of where it happened and the mistakes he made, like the little flick he tried to do, that'd have been outstanding if he'd have pulled it off. But he did it on the edge of our own 18. Do you know what I mean? So do you feel like if we're on it and the ball's going forward and the space opens up for him, that's why he's a 10? And then if we're getting overrun, he's going to be a 2 because he's going to be completely out of the game. He's going to be made to be anonymous. Or do you feel I'm trying to find positives there?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. When you think about it, when backs are to the wall, he's that kind of player. If you were to say, right, it's 0-0, injury time, you need somebody to step up. Who is it going to be? Who are you going to ask to be in that position at that time? As often as anybody else, you're going to say Josh Windass, aren't you? And he's proven it. The Newcastle game in the FA Cup, the game at Wembley. He comes up with ridiculously important goals, and I think he is a figure for criticism because of the things that he does off the pitch, the things he says, the way that he conducts himself, etc. He doesn't help himself in the eyes of the spectators, in the eyes of supporters, people in the stands. I don't know whether he stays. I know we've got the option to exercise another year. Whether he stays or not is open for question. For me personally, I genuinely hope he does, because I don't think we're going to find anything in the current climate that is going to be better than him. You look at his output, you look at his stats compared to other players in the Championship this year. We have got an asset there, and it's almost perverse that we're sitting here tonight criticising him or considering criticising a player that has got that output because of how well he has done. But there are times where he doesn't do it, and that's a fact. The Bannon one for me, is he starting to diminish a little bit, Barry Bannon? Maybe he's getting older. He's starting to. You can see he's starting to carry the sort of the age that he is. He's winding down a little bit. He's picking up niggles that he didn't used to previously. He's running out of steam later on in games. But I said it last week, I'll say it week in, week out. When the ball at his feet, he sees things that nobody else can. And even at 35 years old, he is so underappreciated by a big number of our fans because of how good he is.
He is.
Can I just? Sorry, go on. Sorry, Ash.
No, sorry, go on.
I was only going to say that I think the Josh Windass thing is the fact that we know how good he is, so that's why we're really disappointed when he doesn't turn up. And I think that's the thing is that he'll play like the Derby game, and then he has so many poor games after the Derby game. You know how good he is, and then he just doesn't turn up for some games, and it's very frustrating. And in regards to Bannon, I think this has been one of Bannon's best seasons this season. It tailed off towards the end, and I think because of his age, I think it was niggling injuries here and there, but I think it's the best he's played this season for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's been a solid season for him. Go on, Ash.
I was going to say, no, the quick one for me on Josh Windass was he did a bit of a Q&A on Instagram today, and I asked a question, and he responded to it, and the question was, what's one misconception of you that the fans have?
Did you ask that?
Yeah, and he says, don't care, only the manager's opinion counts. I mean,
I'm all right with it. I mean, you know, we've had a few for this player of the season, and we've had a chat. So hat trick for Shea. It's going to be a huge miss for us next season. Never fall in love with a lone player. Dunderbird's gone. Fudge's point is why Shea is the winner. He's never anonymous in attack or defence. Matt Strickland, we were talking about Josh Windass, said that he plays like a hostage sometimes, and then Russell Howe has gone with hostages turn out to be the hero. I don't know if that happens all the time, but it does in the films. And then Emily Marsden said 5th highest scorer in the league is Josh. And then Blair, I mean, this is the opinion on how it flip-flops on Josh Windass, for example, right? So Emily said 5th highest scorer in the league. He's our post-millennium highest scoring player. And Blair's gone down with, he scored 3 goals in 2025. One of them goals was on 1st of Jan. The last 2 were in the last 2 games of the season. He told the fans to F off. Good old Josh. And I feel like he is a divisive character for a lot of fans, and so it'd be very easy for me to say something like I don't understand it, but I do get it why he's why it's said such things. But Ashley, take me out of my misery. Who's been the player of the season? Oh, I'm not ready.
And the player of the season, voted for by you guys, is, of course, Shea Triple Threat Charles.
Shea Triple Threat Charles. That's a hat trick for Shea Charles. Now, boys and girls, that was our...
It's the Wednesday Week Awards. Let's break into song. Who's been good? Who gets the good?
So that was the end of season awards as voted for by yourselves out there. Now, there's been a few rumblings, boys and girls, about the takeover. Not much happened, but there's been a few rumors about the Turkish man whose name I'm not going to try and pull from memory because I've been hungover for about 2 days, and if I tried to do that now, I would probably say something quite offensive. Is there anything else that's been happening in the Sheffield Wednesday world? It's all been very quiet, hasn't it? Apart from it's been 2 weeks now since Danny Roll touted himself in the media as far as we're concerned, and everybody's very angry about it. And I just wanted to, I needed to talk about it because I feel like it could be tonight's, brace yourself, hot topic. Oh, I'm remiss talking about this. I've annoyed myself having to bring it up because I feel like we are. I think it's easy content if I were, but a lot of people now are saying online, why don't we just tell Danny to get lost? You know, if the finances are right, let's hypothetically talk here now about, let's say that a club's come in and money's not an object, whether we take the money or not. Would you, I think the question here is, would you just tell him to go now? If what we believed is true, because there is an element of we could still be doing pre-season with Danny Roll. Southampton in advanced talks with internet meme Will Still. So, you know what I mean? It's an odd question to ask because I feel like there's a lot of moving parts. But Ash, would you just go, look, Danny, sort it out and see you later? Come on.
I think we got to now. I think he has shit the pot. I think his comments in German media and doing podcasts are like. I think one of his comments to the Star Boys was that he's going to take a few weeks off. He's not going to look at his phone. He's going to spend time with the family. And then 4 days later, he'd done a podcast with a German outlet and things. So, I mean, we found, or should I say, the chairman found a bit of a diamond in the rough, didn't he, at the start? Gave him his chance. We were in a bit of precarious position, but still doable. And he took the thing of an unknown manager in his first job, and it's just got worse and worse from January, hasn't it? I don't think you can deny that his attitude from middle of January, for whatever reason, I've got to the thing of he knew what the chairman was like when he signed his contract for, was it 3 years or 2 years or whatever it was. If the owners promised him everything under the sun and he's not delivering out, that's a different conversation, isn't it? But if that was the case, you'd still do your best from January, wouldn't you? You wouldn't he seems like his whole demeanour, he'd given up on the job, and then obviously, the last couple of weeks has been a bit of a crap. So for me, I would if he hadn't done the podcast and everything with all the stuff behind the scenes, things like that, then maybe I'd want him to stay, but maybe not. But then he is, the thing is, he is still a Sheffield Wednesday employee. He's got however many million it is to buy him out. Is someone going to do it? So,
but like I said, would you just tell him to just? I tell you what we're missing.
You can't,
here,
can
Ash.
you? That's
I think what we're missing is the dreaded voter confidence. I think that's what we're missing. There's been a lot of chat online about Danny, and all of a sudden the rumblings are getting louder and they're getting louder. And I feel that the only thing to quash this is some BS statement that we're never going to believe if we get one anyway, to just sort of say, I'm staying. What are you talking about? You've made all this up in your head.
Yeah, it's never going to happen, is it? Never gonna, I don't think either the club or the manager will make any sort of comment until it's done.
Stevie, look, we've had a good comment here, and it says from Craig Hayward saying the bigger question is if Danny's in the dugout on the opening day, will he still have the fans backing him, or has he shot his bolt? Once again, I only read the first half of that comment, but you know what I mean.
It's a head and heart situation, isn't it? Because that's it. The point that Craig's just made there is a really good one. If you go with your head, go the other way. If you go with your heart, the majority of the fan base would say enough's enough. He needs to go now. He's having us on strings. He doesn't care, etc., etc., etc. If you go with your head, Danny Rule is not a Sheffield Wednesday fan. He's not an Englishman. He's not from Sheffield. He's not from these parts. He can say everything he wants about our massive fans and our big support base and everything else, and he can move into the area and blah blah blah. It's a job. It's his job. He goes to work. He gets up. He's gone home to see his wife and kids. It's a job, and he wants to go and make the most money that he possibly can. Yeah. Simon works in the job that he works at. If he was offered an opportunity to go and make more money and be in better working conditions, I'm not going to take it. Dan, you'd do the same. Ash, you'd probably do the same, even though you're self-employed. I would do the same. There's not a person that's watching this now that would say I am loyal to my employee to the point where I will not take a pay rise and I'll not have better working conditions. That's a fact. He's done it all wrong. He's gone about it entirely the wrong way. I love Danny Rule as a manager. I think he's brilliant. He's brought me the best football that we've seen in years. He's the best manager that we've had possibly. We can argue the Francis Big Ron bit in the middle of the early 90s. As long as I've been around, I've not seen a manager that has transformed the club like he has. And he will go on, I say week in, week out, he will go on and have a fantastic managerial career. I'd have liked to have seen him stay for 3-4 years, but if he moves on, he moves on. The point around him being an employee of the chairman, we've got to take the emotion out of it for this guy. If he's saying, right, I'm going to stay because there's nothing better, or these rumours about it not being talented, as a fan base, we've got to go, right, there's no loyalty in football. That's the bottom line. There's no loyalty unless you're Liam Palmer or Barry Bannon. And it's right though, isn't it? And if we can't find a better manager than Danny Rule, and he can't find a club that meets his expectations and demands, I'd have him back tomorrow.
Yeah, but his form at the second half of the season was shit. And
so
Southampton have gone for Will Still because he might put bums on seats because the kids know who he is because he was a meme 2 years ago.
I genuinely would argue as well.
At a higher level. Sorry, Stephen.
No, not at all. He's managed at a higher level. Has he been involved in higher levels in terms of coaches, in terms of setup? Germany, Bayern Munich, Southampton in the Premier League. This guy, although it's his first job, we're talking about a pedigree. We know what Danny Rule is. The bottom line is we know what it is. We know where he's going. We know what's happening. I'd argue that the form is a little bit of petulance. I'll say it. I don't know what happens if he stays. Is the form going to be the same? Is he, he's only going to stay if there's going to be, some sort of development on the player front. He's going to be a little bit more sort of economical. He's going to think about how he's doing things in terms of players he's picking. He's not going to cut his nose off to spite his face, which I think he potentially has done at times off the pitch as much as on it, because it's been such a fractious relationship. If he stays, whatever the ownership is, I think it'll be better. I do. I genuinely do.
Simon, there's been a comment here that I wanted to draw on because I feel that this is interesting because let me just preempt it a little bit. There is a difficulty, especially with Twitter itself, right? This is an issue where the algorithm is pointed towards the way you speak, and it's pointed to the reactions and the replies and the people you speak to, and it shows you what you want to see. And all of a sudden it becomes very easy to start going, well, everybody agrees with me. You know what I mean? Everybody agrees with me. I mean, it's weird that the TWW cast Twitter handle is a load of people that think we're great. You know what I mean? It's shocking information, isn't it? You know what I mean? And of course, I'm being facetious, but Chef Cam's saying, suspect there'll be a different attitude to Danny from the stands than there is on Twitter. Do you feel like we've got caught up on one social media outlet that have gone, well, if Danny either goes or he stays for me, I can't go bollocks. You know what I mean? Or because there's been a few times where, and I'm sure if we spoke to the 1867 group lads, where they had a load of people agreeing, they had a load of people clicking and liking and responding, and you know what I mean? And it's very easy to go, Christ, I've really tapped into something here. I've really resonated with people. And then once you get out of that little bubble, you go, oh crap, there's another 40,000 people here that don't agree with me. You know what I mean? Do you reckon there's an element of that?
Without a doubt, and that's why I don't really, especially after the season's finished, don't really look at Twitter, and I don't, as you say, I don't really go on our WhatsApp group very often and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is going to happen. I don't agree with what Danny's done. He's basically tarted himself out since he's left, hasn't he? The Southampton thing, it was evident that something's happened in January. Everybody has an opinion on it. Everybody says that they know something. Everybody we speak to, when we were doing the Easter egg, there was people saying, oh, well, this is happening, that's happening. I know this person, groundskeeper dog walks with my dog, and this, that, and the other. And everybody, says that they know stuff. It's like what used to happen in the pub now happens on Twitter. In regards to him coming back, if he has to stay, look, I remember, when was it? 1991. Big Ron, Judas, we welcomed him back with open arms several years later, and he kept us up. The end of the day, he's the manager. Steve says it's a job, and don't agree with the way he's gone around it. We all would look for better jobs, but we don't walk around our workplace shouting at the top of our head, I want a new job, I'm going to get a new job. But do
you not? Oh.
Hence why I've been in the same job for the last 13 years, Daniel. And
I tell you what, ladies and gents. Yeah, innit? Simon did do some work on the new Everton Stadium, I hope you don't mind me saying so. And I've noticed they've named it after you, Si. I've noticed that you're one half of the name of the stadium.
Well, Ovs. I made such a point when I was there about it. No, look, mate. If he's here I worry that if he is here pre-season, is he going to put the amount of effort that he put in the new year this year? Because Steve alluded to some of the best football. I'll have to disagree with you, Steve. I've seen some of the shittest football this season.
We've seen some of the best football for just
dire.
One half.
Yeah, and I think, and in those halves, I remember having a conversation, and unfortunately, it's the old-fashioned me, and I know I'm the old man of the podcast shouting at a cloud, but I remember like 2 or 3 games in, speaking to Ethan about it, saying, this football that we're playing, it's not very exciting. We've not got wingers. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. The good old-fashioned stuff you see at Hillsborough. And he went, Dad, you've got to blame Pep. Pep, the Man City football manager, has created this way of playing football now where we're not seeing flying fullbacks. We're not seeing wingers. We're not seeing crosses in. We're not seeing... And I'll be honest with you, this season, yes, I've seen some awful football this season. Awful football this season. And it's really made me fall out with football in a way. Last season was so exciting, even though we were like, oh God, are we going to go down? But the football we were playing, the never give up all the way through. Danny's put his mark on it this season, and I ain't enjoyed it. And I certainly haven't enjoyed it since January. I haven't enjoyed it since January. It's been awful. And nobody's mentioned, we haven't had, which should have been awarded, worst signing of the season, because all 3 of them that we signed in January. I mean, what is a Sissoko? What is a Sissoko, you know? And then we signed Hatsui, who I think might have made a decent player eventually. The signings compared to January.
What a window January was. What a window.
Oh my God. Awful.
Can I ask one more question or just offer one more discussion point? I know
it's all right. Go on.
Sorry, mate. I'm so sorry. I know. We've had to deal with all of this that we're talking about in terms of the football, and I understand what you're saying, but we've also had to deal with the nonsense off the pitch that has probably had some contributing element to the recruitment. The fact that we know, it's no secret, and we're not here to sensationalise what happened. There was a disagreement with chairman and manager, which meant that there was a lack of conversation between them for 6 weeks, bang in the middle of the transfer window at Christmas, which will have contributed to the poor transfer window in January. But having said all of that, we retain Max Lowe, or we keep Max Lowe in the squad for the start, for the duration of the season. We don't lose for Maywell. We don't lose Bernard. They're probably our 3 best defenders this season. Mm-hmm. What does the season look like? We were flirting with the playoffs right up until Easter. What does our season look like with Bernard, Lowe, and for Maywell fit and firing at that point? Masaba was injured, and he's come back since that injury and looks steady. Do you know what I mean? If Chalobah stays fit, and we've got a squad that's a little bit more bolstered, and let's say if Ugbo gets one off his banjo's arse or whatever you want to call it, and it does go in, does he then become a 10-goal a season player? The season could have looked very different under Rule. I just think we've made we talk about silk purse out of sounds here. I think we've overachieved this season with what we've got, and I just think that there's still a lot of potential there.
I tell you what, I will save that till next week, actually, Steve, because what I could offer you is that, who was that scrap dealer that we had in charge? Dave Richards, Jeff Hulley, all those people that we've had in charge of the club, I'd argue some of them have been as bad, if not worse, as Japon Chansiri. But because we're in a world of social media and everybody's got a mate and everybody hears these things out the club, I think that we just hear about this one the most. And because he's not backward at coming forward with his statements and stuff like that, I don't think he's that different to some of the shite we've had before that have run this club into the floor the last 2.5 decades. But I feel like that's something that I feel like something that we could discuss. But ladies and gents, that was tonight's Hot Topic. Now, boys and girls, we will be carrying on through the summer. Does anybody have any other business to attend to? Go on, Stevie.
Super quick. I don't normally do this. I went to a meeting at work.
He does it all the time. All the time.
I never do AOBs.
We just thought you meant talking for ages. No, go on, carry on. Go on.
I'm sure we had a thing in the group chat. Put any other business before, like, so we all knew and stuff.
Oh, Steve is one of them that turns up to work Zoom calls and then at the end of it goes, nothing from me, and then just.
Anyway, I went to work last week, signed into a meeting online, and had a funny look off a bloke. And it was like, do I know you from somewhere? And he basically went, aren't you on the Wednesday week? And I went, yeah. And he went, Stevie in there? Yeah. He says, oh, can you give me a shout out? And I don't normally do this, but after a very long and hard term, we're coming up to hard term, I promised I'd give Luke Price and his wife, Nicole, a shout out on the pod, because they watch week in, week out. They say it's destination television for them. When I spoke to him last week, he was telling me that he was watching the reruns of podcasts from the League One playoff era.
Good Lord.
So yeah, God bless him. Seemed like a stand-up bloke. So just wanted to give Luke and Nicole a shout out.
Fair enough. I'll give you that one. We can have any other businesses like that. But listen, we barring any big Wednesday news, we'll probably do a Q&A next week. So if we do pop out a tweet asking for any questions, nothing's off the table, Ash. Right? Nothing. We can ask what we want.
Anything. Anything you like, we will try and answer as best, as comically or as serious as we usually do.
Hang on. We've had a last minute any other business here before I wrap this up. Stevie, our gambling officer, you're in trouble. When do we start talking about the fact that I'm leading the fantasy EFL playoffs TWW table? Wickerman, I don't know if you do get to lord off about that, because just like anybody else with Fantasy League, we normally play it for about six weeks and then think this is shit, and then all forget about it, which is what I did. To our mate Dave, who we were away with at the weekend. Dave Preston's gone with anything, as in, can I ask anything? Yes, you can, but not live on air just yet, Dave, because I know what you like. I tell you what, Wickerman, we will answer your question next week. But thanks a lot for joining us. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week, bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your podcast.